This is Nah, But For Real.
Nah, but for real, tell me how I feel. We on that fire, tell me what's the deal. Nah, but for real, tell me how I feel. We on that
What up, everybody? I'm Dave,
I'm Jazzy.
and welcome to your favorite podcast, Nah, But For Real, where we talk about all the things, everything. Introspection, what your mama did yesterday, what my mama did yesterday, probably
Anything under the sun.
anything. Your dirty cousin, who knows?
What?
We talk about everything. Welcome to the new episode. Tomorrow.
So what? What episode is it, Dave?
This is 14.
Look
Listen,
at you knowing, because you used to be like,
I know, but when you edit stuff and you gotta organize everything, it
Shout out
Gets
to the
in your
double
brain.
digits, you know.
we at number 14. When we get to like 20 or 25, we gonna do something special. We gonna do something a little special.
Appreciate y'all rocking with us.
Yeah, we appreciate the love and everything. Gotta make sure my hair's straight. I gotta go to this thing later. So yeah, we appreciate the love. Shout out to the Patreon. That's $5 a month. You get
This tape
all
is
the
so
things.
far. I need longer arms. Sorry.
I actually scooped the table back
Why?
because I'm tall. So I understand you're short, but it's all
This is a
good.
partnership.
You right.
We have to make sure that I can reach the table too.
I am sure, but certain benefits come when you're on time. I'm kidding. I am kidding.
I really tried really hard.
You really do. Well, I don't know if you try really hard.
I really did.
I don't be there doing your process.
If I didn't make my video, I probably would have been, I'd been good. I was ready at like 7:40.
I'm sure you were. More than sure you were.
Got here at 9:20.
Anywho.
2 hours later.
Anywho.
Anywho,
Jazz, how are you?
I am good. Well, actually, I don't know, because if my MacBook is messed up and I gotta pay $1,000 to fix it, I might as well buy a new one. And then that's gonna be a whole nother. See, and we was just talking about stress, and this is what I be talking
We
about.
were talking about stress yesterday.
That's my MacBook is about to stress me out. Like, I had the black screen of death before, and I did have to get it fixed, but I was in warranty. I don't know how much it costs.
Oh, it's going to cost you something.
I want to say it was like $600, but I didn't have to pay for it. $600 might be all right, but if they
Right.
say anything in the thousands, I have to buy a new laptop.
You might
I
as
have a
well get
whole
a new
business. I need my laptop. Like, this is really bad.
You
Like,
might as well get a new laptop.
I'm
They
holding
say
back
1,000.
tears. Really, like, I'm
Like,
holding back tears.
I get it though, cause my car was messing up.
Your car?
Yes.
Yeah,
like,
my car too. Oh, my car. A whole
vehicle,
nother-
that
we can
engine
go
light
down a
came
list
on.
of things. Yes,
And
my
I'm gonna
engine
tell
light
you
came
this.
on,
This
too.
I know prayer works, cause I said they sit back.
You start praying when your engine light come on. I know that's right. Lord.
I took it to the shop. They kept it for a few days, and they sent back an email of all the things that is. They said there are 6 things wrong with your car, and this is how much each thing is going to cost. I saw that total. I said, Father, in the name of Jesus, you fix all things yourself.
Man, okay.
And I kid you not, I prayed. That engine light is off.
Okay.
Ain't been on for a whole minute.
Listen.
Now, if it's 20, I'm telling you, that engine, seriously, that engine light ain't been on since I prayed.
Can you pray for my MacBook, please? It needs
I'm
all
praying
the
for
prayer
it.
that
I
it can
believe.
get,
I'm serious.
because
There's power
that
in
black
prayer.
screen of death, like no sound, no nothing. That's not a good thing.
It don't even have the.
Yeah,
it don't
like-
even, that sucks.
And
That
it's like out
truly
of
sucks.
nowhere. But people have told me about, like how people will say like BMWs are trash and stuff like that. The luxury cars, like how much it costs to fix them. Like that's how I feel about Apple products. Like they'll break, but
Yeah.
we want them so bad we will fix them anyway and buy them anyway. And it's just really annoying.
I'm Team Apple.
When
so,
I had my HP, I ain't had no problems with it, but I had to get a Mac.
yeah.
Now I'm Macing and black screen of death and might have to pay $1,000 to fix.
Yes. Absolutely.
Oh, please pray for it. Pray for it. Pray for my
First
laptop,
world
everybody.
problems, unfortunately. All right.
All right.
This first segment is called Let's Get Personal. Hopefully it's
All
a good one.
right. Oh, whew. I don't know what that was. What's the last? Okay. What's the last major goal you accomplished? What obstacles did you have to overcome to do so?
That's a good question.
That's a
My
loaded
last
question.
major accomplishment, this studio, I had to overcome fear of it working out. And I had to overcome people's opinions of if this is going to work. All that to say, clearly it did.
Okay.
And so doing this whole thing, which has always been a dream, a goal of mine, I'm in a position now where I've learned that no matter what people say, no matter what people do, people are always going to talk you or try to talk you out of your dreams. You got to keep going anyway. You have to. And so everything is kind of, I believe everything happens for a reason, and I believe things don't happen for a reason. Like with this movie coming out and certain things happening in my life right now, certain transitions, certain things happen because there's something better coming next. And so I'm learning, really, my faith is getting stronger every day. And I've learned more about myself, that I'm not a quitter. Like, especially when it comes to things that I want to do, things I want to accomplish, I'm going to find a way. Like, giving up is not an option. Like, if there's a way to do it, I'm going to try every way until it's like, all right, there's no possible way. But
Right.
I'm not going to quit on the first try.
Yeah.
I'm not going to quit on the second either. I'm going to find a way, and it's going to ruffle some feathers. It's going to piss some people off. I do not care. Because I know this is what God put inside of me.
Right.
This is my vision.
Right.
And it's just going to keep building from there. Like, I have so many ideas, so many things, and I'm not just idealist or a dreamer. I'm a doer. So I'm going to go after all of it. And like I said before, you can either be in this thing with me, you can jump off the cliff with me, or you can just get out of my way.
Right.
Like, at the end of the day. Like, if you going to be in relationship with me, if you going to be in community with me, come ready to grind. Come ready to work on these dreams and goals. It ain't just about my dreams. It's about other people's dreams. And if you want to partner with me, if you want to jump on this train with me, we going. Just don't get in my way or I'm kicking you off the train. It's as simple as that.
Okay, period.
What about you?
I want to say my personal development journey, but it's still a journey. So I'm going to just go ahead and shift to, because I don't talk about my real estate career as much anyway. And some major things have happened in my real estate career as of lately. Like we've sold a few houses. We did our first flip. And, you know, we accomplished our first flip. Things I had to overcome, a whole lot. In real estate, you deal with a lot of different types of people. You deal with broken promises. You deal with people burning you. You giving contractors down payments and they never show up. And, you know, and just a fear period. Like first getting into real estate and buying houses, I didn't want to do that initially. That was really my partner's doing. I wanted to kind of do real estate in a low risk way possible. I wasn't ready to start buying houses yet, but because I had my partner, I was like, okay, I'll be scared, but I have you, so I'm just gonna be, you know, I'm gonna be okay with it. So it's definitely overcoming fear for sure. But I don't even know if I overcame the fear. I think I just did it scared. You know what I mean?
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I don't think I overcame the fear. I kind of just was like scared and doing it anyway, because it's like, I know that my money was going to go to something. So it might as well go somewhere where I'm trying to make money.
Right.
So yeah, I guess overcoming the obstacles that goes with flipping a house and what goes into getting a house together, those are obstacles within itself. The fear part didn't even matter. You know, can you get a good contractor? Can you find a plumber that know how to do the plumbing?
Yeah.
who ain't gonna run out on you, who gonna come and not hold up the whole flip, because plumbing, electric, HVAC, all that got to be done before you can even do anything, make the house pretty. So if you don't got those type of contractors that's good, that's gonna get in there and get out, they gonna hold up. You know, if you got a loan on it, then it's you wasting money, and all those type of obstacles comes with flipping homes. But we did it. We was kind of scared when we first put the first flip on the market. We was kind of scared because we like, what's gonna happen if it don't sell? Like, you know, like, but it's sold, and it's sold. I want to say it's sold in like a few months. So
nice.
I think it was a good flip. Like for that to be our first flip, and it flipped in 2 months, and we got what we wanted for it. We may have went down on the price, maybe like $3,000. That's it. I think we did well.
That's a win. That's a
all
win.
right. So yeah, I would say that's my biggest accomplishment, and like I said, overcoming the working with people and the obstacles that comes with that, for sure. But I was scared. I ain't overcome fear. I'm still fearful.
I love it. Last thing, public service announcement. When you see this, the movie will have already been out. It's only out for one day. And I just want to say thank you to everybody who supported. There are 3 people, and I really want to hone in on this. There are 3 people who could not go to the movie and still bought tickets.
Period.
Now, don't get me wrong. Everybody can't do that. I get it. But that tells me you are really for me.
Yeah.
When you spend money on something that you can't go to.
Yeah, you can't even benefit from.
You can't benefit from it, but you benefit from our friendship and our relationship. And you love me that much.
Yeah.
And support me that much and believe in me that much, that where you are putting money towards something that I'm a part of.
Yeah.
That speaks more to me than anything else. And I'm short tangent. A lot of people, I don't have a lot of friends. I got a lot of associates, but friends, also being an introvert, I don't need that many people in my life. But the people I do call friends really back me up. I don't have to ask any questions. I can be like, this is what's going on. This is when it's happening. And they be like, we pulling up. And if they can't come, they're like, how can we support? You do that for me, I'm good. Because I know I'm the type of friend who would do the same. And you can say a lot of stuff about me, but what you can't say about me is I don't show up.
Okay.
I show up for my people. I don't care what I'm doing. If you need me, I'm there. If you're going through something, I'm the friend you can call. And it's great when you have friends who reciprocate that.
For sure.
So y'all know
that's a whole episode.
That part. Y'all know who y'all are. Specifically, you 3 people. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. One person bought 2 tickets.
Period.
And can't even go.
Okay.
And so I just want to say thank you, and also thank you to everybody who supported. We will be at the one in Newport. We got a few friends coming. I'm sorry. Push pause. Hello.
Business as usual.
Eli, let me call you back. All right. That's my nephew. That is hilarious. My nephew's birthday is today. Oh my God. And I just was like, let me call you back.
Call him back and tell him happy birthday.
I'm about to call him back. His birthday is today. He just turned 10 and he just got a cell phone. So he's been blowing my phone. He's been
the
blowing
first cell phone, yes.
my phone up.
Now my daughter, she used to blow me up. Now I blow her up. Like, girl, see, done start feeling
Hold
yourself.
on, I'm about to call him back.
ahead.
Put him on speaker.
Blocked.
Like, right.
He ain't even acknowledge my 10-year-old birthday.
All right, whatever. We'll call him back later. Anyway,
Eli. Happy birthday, Eli.
Happy birthday, E. I love you, man. That's my little homie. He's the funniest kid in the world. He's also an introvert, like his Uncle Dave.
Oh, Lord.
And he's also a creative, and he's going to be the best drummer and musician in the world.
Period. I love it. Oh.
Just don't call me every day. I love you so much. He absolutely will. I'm going to pick up every single time. Anywho, the next segment is called what? Let's keep it real.
Let's keep it real.
You supposed to be the one doing it now, not me.
Am I?
Yeah.
I didn't get the message. I don't remember that. What we talk about today? So we talking about communication, and I'm excited about this topic today because
Ooh-wee.
it's like this is like the heart of any and all relationship. It's the heart of life for real when you think about it. Communication is the heart to the. It's the soul. Like it's everything for real when you think about it. I think initially I wanted to talk about just love languages, but I feel like love languages and communication kind of go hand in hand. So I wanted to kind of like combine them because I didn't think you can really do a whole episode on love languages. Well,
You could.
knowing me, I probably could have.
I was about to say, because you.
I just wanted to tie in communication just because I feel
gonna
like it's
say.
all a part of it, right?
You can talk, so it's like, like Jazzy,
Yes.
why didn't you eat today? Let me tell you, this morning, I just want to know why you didn't eat. But go ahead,
Right.
go forth. You be
know
you.
what? Shut up. Annoying. So what about communication? I think there is certain communication styles that we are not aware of, as far as like how it is perceived or what type of results comes from certain types of communication. So we have the different communication styles, right? So we have the passive aggressive, we have the passive, we have the assertive, and we have aggression. So the passive aggressive is probably my least favorite.
Why?
That is
that you?
Absolutely not. Passive aggressive is basically like you pretending. I think it's a very common communication style. It's kind of like pretending that it's almost like ignoring reality.
Yeah.
Even like ignoring reality of your feelings, and you're acting a completely different way than you actually feel, I guess is what I'm saying. So like a prime example would probably be like, say you're dating somebody and you know how there's a like gray area in the dating phase and like it's a gray area. So like you don't know what you're allowed to say, what you're not allowed to say. So you pretend like, oh, I don't care about certain things when really you do.
Yeah.
Maybe you throw shots at a situation because you don't know if you're allowed to care about it or not.
Very triggering. Very triggering
It's
for me.
really annoying, and I'm like so over that, like the passive aggressiveness. Like I feel like it's almost like passive aggression is almost like a trend. It's almost like the new thing. I feel like because how many of us actually be going around like acting like we don't care about stuff, acting like we don't care to be in relationships. We don't care about this. We don't care if we lose a friend. We don't care about this. But it's like, yes, you do.
Unless you're me, because I really don't.
You don't care about losing a friend and losing a relationship that was significant to you. And
I'm at the place now. Before I
being
did.
in a relationship, being married.
Before I did. Now, if you want to go. I'm not chasing you.
And it's not even, my thing is, because I feel that. Because I feel like I'm that type of person too, where I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't say I don't care because I'm in that stage where I'm like, I'm allowing myself to feel everything.
Right.
So sometimes I feel like we are so quick to jump on dismissing a feeling instead of just allowing ourselves to feel that feeling.
True.
Then get to the point where we're like, okay, now I'm okay with it not being this way anymore. It's not like I'm saying like, just because I say I care doesn't mean it's affecting my daily. Like, don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
I'm still I don't care what happened last night. I'm going to get on this podcast and do me. You're not going to see it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I feel like there's a difference between like not caring and not letting it affect your day type of thing. And when I say passive aggressive, I feel like it's more so like how you express how you feel about something. It may not be true. Like you really don't care that you lost a friend. Well, that wasn't really a real friend. Like
It's like you say one thing, but your actions say something else.
yeah.
Like what pisses me off is the I'm okay thing.
Yeah.
That's the most passive aggressive thing. Like, are you all right?
Right.
Like, what's wrong? I'm okay. But you are like huffing and puffing and
Right.
everything.
And it's just like living your truth. I'm so over like the whole I don't care trend. I don't, like
True.
even when you get in a dating phase, like I don't believe in that. Oh, we're dating, so I'm not allowed to say. You are allowed to feel you're a
Nah.
human being. Like,
Yeah.
why aren't you allowed to feel a way? Like,
Oh.
at what point did we get to that point as humans where feelings is like a gray area? Feelings is something that we are going to have no matter what. Like, we are emotionally wired creatures, but it's almost like we don't want to be. But it's like it's in our nature, so we might as well just do it,
And
deal with it.
I think people do that because nobody wants to feel the pain.
Right.
So you distract yourself with work. You distract yourself with that happened, but you know what? I got to make money, and that's more
Yeah.
important than that. And it's just like,
Right.
not necessarily. Like
Right.
you still have to be the healthiest version of you.
Yeah.
And if you keep ignoring these things, it's like the sweeping under the rug thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like at some point, the rug is you're gonna see a lump in the rug,
Right.
and you only focused on the parts of the house that's clean.
Mm-hmm.
But behind you, it's a whole pile of dirt.
Right.
And so you should want a clean house.
Yeah.
But I think I know people, they just don't want to acknowledge the pain. They don't want to accept
Yeah.
the pain. But it's like, if you really want to be healed, if you really want to be the
got to.
healthiest version of yourself,
You
you
got
got to
to.
go through it. And it's going to suck and it's going to
Yeah.
hurt. But it's like, you can't ignore that for too long because it's going to show up in other areas.
Yeah, and it's like it's literally lacking vulnerability. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you're in pain and you're not susceptible to the pain, that's literally being invulnerable. Like,
Right.
and vulnerability is, I feel like, is it's a necessity for healing. It's a necessity for being better and like understanding your emotions and how you're triggered and certain things that you should do and need to do. Living in your true feelings is you can't escape that. And
Right.
I feel like this passive aggressive tone that people are doing these days is literally ignoring the necessity to be vulnerable, the necessity to feel pain. Like, and it's okay. Cause some people have this feeling. Cause I know me, I was very prideful in the sense of if I felt like you didn't care, then I wasn't gonna care. Like we was gonna have a not care competition. Like I ain't gonna text you first. You ain't gonna text me first.
Yeah.
I ain't looking at your stories. Like I was petty. Like, but now it's like, listen, I don't care if it's lopsided. If you don't care about me, I still care about you. I am in that mode right now. Like I am not going to be ashamed that I fell for somebody and it didn't work out. You know what I'm going to be like, oh yeah, I like this person and it didn't work out. And whether they liked me or not, or they played me or not, that's a whole different story. But as far as my feelings, I'm going to be true to them.
Right.
And I feel like we're too grown for that. Like, I feel like it's a very kid-like thing to be like, oh, I didn't really care for real, but you really did. It's like, I'm so over that whole image, that whole like trend of not caring and get money. And it's like, we do care. We care when we lose friends. We care when we lose loved ones. We care when we lose situationships. We care when we let the wrong man in our life. We care. And and that's the thing too, like, you lose friends, you lose relationships, you pretend like you don't care. How do you grow? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you make sure you don't mess with that same type of guy anymore, the same type of woman anymore, if you're not acknowledging the fact that it hurt you? And it makes sense why there's this cycle of the same old stuff and people not caring, because we're not taking the time to actually feel and letting that help us grow and be better and see things differently. So
That's true.
passive aggressive is definitely the least favorite communication style, and I think that's the most common communication style I see. Maybe not. Maybe it's a social media thing. Maybe it's not real life.
No,
but
it's
I mean,
definitely
even
real life.
I feel like when I talk to friends, it's like, we broke
this
up,
was
but
happening
I'm good, girl. Let's go
before.
out. It's like, girl, no, it's okay to cry.
This was
if you
happening
lost your
way
man,
before
like-
social media.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just social media enhances
It enhances everything. And it normalizes everything too. It's like,
Yeah.
this is not normal, but we over here acting like it's normal. It's toxic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Real quick, which one are you? Or do you want to save it till we go through all of
I
it?
think I was going to, but
No. Save it.
I don't know. I feel like I'm all of them, honestly.
Hilarious.
I'm all of them.
That is, you can't be all of them.
I am
I think
definitely
you
all
have moments of all, but I think there's probably one where it's like, this is me. But go through all of them and we'll figure it out.
Yeah. So you got the passive.
I feel like I know, but I want to hear what you
Okay.
think.
I feel like so the passive is the next communication style. So that's like basically just not caring. You know what I'm saying? And when I say not caring, it may be not caring, but it might just be not just giving up kind of. So if I look at it in a relationship sense or any friendship, any type of relationship, it could be mom and dad, or mom and daughter, or dad and daughter, or whatever type of, any type of ship, right? You're not taking the efforts to reconcile anything or talk out anything or have conversations or like it. I feel like passive is like your lack of effort to feed the friendship, feed the relationship, feed. It's like not really. I don't know how to explain it. What would you say passive is?
I would say passive.
Because I looked this
Because
stuff up, but like, I put not caring.
For me, because I'm passive. I'm passive as ever. I think passive is when you...
It says not expressing feelings or needs.
Yeah. What they're missing is either the fear of what the answer is going to be.
Ignoring your own personal rights and allowing others to do so. I don't know what that means. Ignoring your own personal.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So you're ignoring your feelings and you're like, I'm doing this for you, even though I don't want to and I don't feel like it's the right thing, but I feel like I have to.
I feel like that kind of was what I was saying, like giving up and not caring.
That is me all day.
That's not good.
Like, heck no, it's
I'm
not
judging
good.
you.
But the thing is, I think passive also is when, for me, when I've communicated quite a few times and you don't care.
Yeah.
Now I'm at a place where I'm like, all right, I'm tired of asking.
Right.
And the fact that I have to keep asking you, the fact that I have to keep telling you, and the fact that you keep doing the same thing over and over, that tells me my feelings aren't a concern of yours.
Yeah, but I don't know if I would consider that passive.
Well, what I'm saying is it leads to the passive thing.
Yeah.
Because now I'm like, yeah, go do whatever you want. Because I don't, at this point, if I share how I feel, you've already proven to me that doesn't matter to you.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like.
So you are kind of expressing like, sounds like a little bit of a trauma of like not being able to talk about your feelings or not being able to talk about your feelings where you're understood.
Yeah,
so that
and I think
that led to this passive personality because you haven't been able to do it as much.
With passive people, our biggest fear is being misunderstood. And it's like we don't.
Or being used against you, right?
That part too. Or if I share how I feel and you come back and be like, well, this is why you feel this way. Well, I'm going in my man cave and you're not allowed in.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a wrap.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's going to take a lot of work and a long time to get me out.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too. If we get to a place where I'm starting to come out of my man cave and you do it again, and it's that repetitive cycle, at some point, I mean, if you're dating, you might as well let it go.
Yeah. So it sounds like your intention is assertion, but it ends up being passive when it's not, when your assertion is not being understood the way it's supposed to.
Or understood or appreciated. It's like you don't even acknowledge the fact that I'm trying.
Yeah.
Especially when you know I'm passive.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, you know I'm this way. And it's like, and I'm trying to give you what you want.
Yeah.
I'm sharing my feelings in the healthiest way possible. Mm-hmm. And now you going to throw it back in my face?
Yeah.
No.
And I feel like that's a very common thing with men, I feel like, too. I feel like women will ask for the assertive man, the man that keeps it real, the honest, blunt man. But
y'all don't want
really
that for
prefer
real,
the passive one for real. Like
women
the passive
don't.
one, I feel like we feel superior to the passive one. We're like, oh, you passive, you can't talk. I feel like we
Not
get
in today's
enjoyment.
world.
I feel like we get enjoyment out of like calling you out and saying you're passive, but at the same time, as soon as he's assertive, we're upset because
Now
it's
you
the way
offended.
he said it. It's the way it's
Right.
everything but the truth is being discussed at that point. So
Because-
it's like,
and
what
here's
is
the
a man
thing.
supposed to do?
And here's the thing: when I match your energy,
Right.
now you offended, and now you, because this is what I don't understand about this. We live in a very sensitive time now.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is sensitive. Everybody, to some extent.
I know I am
And
a lot of bit.
the moment, whenever I see a woman that's that aggressive type, like you were saying, once a man is assertive because she's assertive, to me that tells me that, because I can see past all that. Like, I'm like, I know you ain't really this way, but you've been through a lot in life
Yeah.
to make you this way.
Yeah.
And usually I can break through that wall because I'm like,
Right.
what is that?
Right.
Like, for what?
Right.
Like, why do you have to be G.I. Jane right now? Like, you really...
It really don't work. That's
Because
the
for
thing.
me, if you're going to be in a relationship with me and we're in a committed relationship and we're trying to do this thing called life together, in the world, when you go to work, you can be that. When you come home, leave that crap at work.
Right.
You ain't got to be the man in a relationship.
Yeah.
I'm a straight man, a heterosexual. Don't no heterosexual man want to be with a man-like woman.
Okay. Listen.
Ever. It's very unattractive.
Right. And I think a lot of us women, we be in denial about that. Like I said, we'll want the assertive guy until we get it. And then it's like, well, let me get the passive guy again. Like, because the assertive guy makes me feel like.
And I'm telling you right now, if you want to be that, go ahead and be that and watch this relationship go to hell.
Right. For sure.
Because I'm not competing with you.
Do you think there is a time, like in any relationship, any type of relationship, intimate or not, where passive aggression and being passive is a good thing?
No.
No? I'm trying to think. I was trying to think, like, is
Because-
there times where
Because
it's a good
you're,
thing?
at the end of the day, with passive people, you're ignoring your feelings.
Yeah.
With passive aggressive, you're, how can I put this? With passive aggressive people, you're,
I think passive aggressive people are just completely dishonest.
that part. Like, you're not really saying how you feel.
Yeah.
Like, you're saying it without saying it.
You're saying it without, oh, that is the most annoying thing. Like, just say it.
And it's just like, get to the point. Like
don't throw shots.
Right,
I ain't trying to hear none of that. Just
or let me give you the perfect example, because passive aggressive people piss me off. Like, you'll say what you need to say, but then you do that thing that's under your breath.
Yes.
Oh, I want to punch you in the throat. Like,
yes, because it's like you want somebody to feel bad about something, but you want them to figure out what they should feel bad about. It's like it's putting two and two together.
or it gets
don't gotta
real,
do that.
or it gets disrespectful at that
Yeah,
point.
and
Like,
it's literally most of the time I feel like it's always disrespectful.
it is, but the moment you get to, you say how you feel, but there's this little extra thing that passive aggressive people do. Like, they say too much. Mm-hmm. Like, you didn't have to say
too much around the reality.
right, and there's this little part you could have left out, because now it's this little part that I'm focused on.
Now I'm focused on the right, exactly.
Because now we ain't even talking about that thing. You got real disrespectful here, so now I got to check you on this. And
For
once I'm done with this,
sure.
let me calm down, and then we'll get to this.
For sure. And I don't know. I feel like I don't. I
You
feel
can
like
tell this is really traumatic for me, because I'm
Man,
very amped
okay.
up right now.
But no, I feel like I experience this a lot with like any type of situationship I've been in or relationship I've been in. Like, I feel like people don't be wanting to be honest about how they feel. Like, I don't know. Do you think it's like an insecurity, or like why is it that people aren't honest about their feelings?
It's all rooted in fear. We're afraid of, and this is for everybody, I don't care if you passive, aggressive, passive, Virgo, Scorpio, whatever.
Shut up. Okay.
I think that was a great joke.
Virgos.
That was great.
Like, where did that come from?
I don't know where that came from, but it was a great joke.
Shut up.
I'm really funny. I don't care what anybody says.
Yes, you are. I'm sorry. I just
I
threw you
think
off.
it's rooted in fear, like I said, and we are afraid of the comeback. So if I say how I really feel, are you going to use that against me? Am I afraid of the answer that you're going to give me? Because what you're afraid of is the truth.
And what's stupid about that, in my opinion, is like, but you see that the passive aggressiveness is not doing anything either. So like,
Because it works for you in other relationships.
okay.
So if it works in other relationships,
And it's just this one that ain't
and
working.
it's this one that's like, but let me keep trying just in case.
Passive aggressive is the worst.
It is.
It's just the worst.
It is.
And I'm really trying to figure out, is it a time where it's like, where it's normal for real? I don't know. I don't think so. I think you should always like care, especially if you actually care. You should care
Yeah.
out loud. Like it should never be in silence. And I think that's the biggest issue I have with passive aggression and passive period.
Right.
Is the whole not caring thing, because I think that's a lie. I think a lot of us lie to ourselves about caring and not caring, and I mean about not caring. I think people lie to themselves about that, and I think most people care about most things, even little things, you know. So I think that's the biggest reason I hate it, is because it's like, at this point in my journey, I'm feeling everything. And I feel like if you're not willing to feel everything, no matter what, if you're not willing to be honest with yourself about your feelings, I don't see growth happening.
It's
We're all
impossible.
about growth. So yeah, for sure. So the next communication style would be assertive, which is supposed to be the best communication style, right? This is like clear honesty and understanding. So assertion is just communicating truthfully and honestly, and like there's no guard up, but there's also no, I think the best part about assertion is it's not driven by emotion. It's driven by truth and honesty. It may give an emotion. It may like bring an emotion out of the person you're giving the information to. But as for you, it's all about, like, I feel like it's more so like assertion. I feel like this is how God communicates. Assertive. It's not really like this emotional thing. It's just like truth is truth. And this is this.
And this is what you just don't
That's
get.
just what it is. Whatever emotion comes after that, that's fine. But I'm going to give you the truth. I'm not going to yell and scream at you, but I'm going to tell you the truth, and I'm going to, give you the truth. So that's obviously, I feel like the best way to communicate. I don't know why is it that that's the hardest type of communication style. Like,
right.
You don't really come across people. It's so crazy because I feel like when I come across someone that's like super honest all the time, and they're super honest all the time, and they're not really like, it's not really like emotional. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just more so like, I said what I said, I meant what I said. They don't really, they're calm. It's just a different type of peace that comes with assertion. And I don't know why I feel like it's so hard. Well, I'm not saying I feel like it's hard for people to be assertive, and I'm just trying to figure out why. Like, I don't know if it's just, we just didn't grow up on that. Like, did we grow up on emotional communication? Did we grow up on toxic communication? We didn't grow up with effective, healthy communication.
You didn't grow up with any communication at all.
Right.
Like, for me, growing up in a single parent household, who did my mom have to communicate with other than us?
Yeah.
It's like, and because of that, conflict resolution was not a thing.
Yeah.
Which is why conflict resolution is hard for me.
Yeah.
My go-to is to just, all right, well,
be passive.
Be passive, but also run. Like, just walk away, not even whatever. We moving on. But the thing is still bothering me. So it's just like, but in two-parent households, it's kind of like if their communication ain't good, like, if I know some people who parents never fought in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't even know what it's like to make up
Right.
after a fight.
Mm-hmm.
Or if all you saw was your mom cursing out your dad or your dad hitting on your mama, like, if that's what you grew up around, these are learned things.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think anybody is born passive. I don't think anybody is born assertive. I don't think
Just
anybody's
learn
born.
it.
It's all what we learn from what we see as
Yeah.
children.
And I think a lot of us, we kind of lack emotional intelligence is what I'm going to kind of touch base on a little later. When I was just thinking about it while you was talking, like being assertive, you have to really know who you are to really truly be assertive. I think it takes intention. I think it takes you to know how to manage your emotions. I think it takes practice. A lot of us, we're in that mode where we feel like, well, if I have the right circumstance, I can be assertive. If I have the right this, and sometimes it's like, nah, sometimes you just need to practice it. Sometimes you need to work at these things. It's not just always, a certain circumstance is going to pull something out of you.
Well, also, being assertive will get you to that thing. Like, you're trying to wait for the perfect opportunity to be this way, but before you get to this, you kind of have to be assertive to get to that point. Like, you have to create your own atmosphere. Mm-hmm. You can't let somebody else do it for you.
Right.
Like, if somebody walked into this studio and I got a bad attitude,
Mm-hmm.
I've already created that atmosphere, that toxic atmosphere.
Yeah.
But if people come in and despite what I'm going through, I'm able to create an atmosphere of joy and laughter. People can feel comfortable. People can feel ready to come and work on some stuff and create.
Yeah.
Then that's what's going to happen. But it starts with me.
Yeah.
It starts with you. Like, you can't wait for everybody outside of you before you change what's inside of you.
Yeah.
So you got to do that internal work to create the atmospheres you want externally. Right.
For sure. And like, I think that's kind of like what I was saying too. It's just like a lot of the stuff that we want in life, even with our personal life, like our personality, like I can look at myself and be like, well, I want to be this type of woman, but then I'll make excuses for being this type of woman. But sometimes I feel like most of the time when you're trying to be a specific type of person, it takes your intention. It's not just this perfect opportunity type of thing. It takes your intention to do it all the time and learn how to do it. Sometimes you might have to read a book. You know what I'm saying? Like, some people don't go that far. Like, oh, I want to communicate better. Let me read a book on emotional intelligence. Like, we are not thinking that deep into stuff, and we're waiting on the perfect person to, we're just going to bring it out of me. Like, nah, sometimes you are just you, and you need to change you, and you need to learn how to change you, and those take steps, and those takes intention. So yes, assertiveness, I feel like the hardest communication style to come across. It's probably the most beautiful communication style when you think about it, because I feel like when God's talking to me, that's exactly how he is talking, assertive. And so I want people to talk to me like that. There's a reason it comes out like that. There's a reason it's with love. You can still feel loved when you have an assertive communication style or a conversation with someone who's assertive. You can still feel loved. Which takes me to go ahead.
I just thought another reason I think people aren't assertive. Mm-hmm. Like I said, we live in a very sensitive time. Mm-hmm. So if I'm honest and if I tell you how I really feel, now I have to sit here and wonder if I'm going to offend you.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
And it's like we live in such an offended world now. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like a trend to be offended, which is annoying because it's like.
And how do you feel about being offended? Because I think.
Well, my thing
I think
is
you're supposed to be offended.
If it's the truth, and if the truth offends you, that says something about you, not the person who's giving the information.
What you want me to do? Like the shoe fit.
Like, you're going to be offended at something in this world. Everybody's not going to think the way you do. Everybody's not going to agree with you. And it annoys the crap out of me that we live in this such sensitive time that people have to walk on eggshells.
Yes.
Just to deliver truth. Yes.
For sure.
So that's my little 2 cents.
Yeah, I think I agree 100%. Like, I don't. And that's the thing, like that goes into a whole nother realm of like just not being accepting of honesty. Just you know, like if you have an issue being offended, because my thing is there's a lot of people, or there's a lot of podcasts that I watch, or there's a lot of motivational speakers, or whatever type of speaker I watch, where I get offended, and I like that because for me that tells me, one, that I want to change. If I'm offended by something, that means I want to change. Why would it offend me? You know what I'm saying? Unless I think that it's something wrong with it too. Like if you say something about lace fronts and I don't think nothing's wrong with lace fronts, it's not going to offend me. I really can care less. But if you say something about, you know, a woman can't keep a man because her mouth, that might offend me. And you know why? Because it's true.
Because it's true.
And it's true for me, you know, personally. So I feel like it's a good thing when you're offended. It's a good thing when you feel bad about something that's not serving your life, it's not making you happy. You're supposed to feel bad about it, and that's what's going to drive you to do better. So I feel like it just goes back to people not wanting to be held accountable. You know, you don't want to hear the truth because you don't want to be held accountable. You don't want to tell yourself you need to grow. You don't want to tell yourself you need to change. It's much easier to just act like it's the whole outside world, and it's not you at all.
And
so
be curious about your offense. Like, if you get offended,
Right.
don't have.
ask yourself why.
Of course, we're going to have an emotional response. However, take a moment to be like, but why am I offended?
Right.
Like, what about this is triggering for me? Mm-hmm. And if it's the truth, you got to do the steps to
It's all
handle
about
that truth.
perspective.
But it's like just ask, why are you offended by
Right.
this?
And I feel like that's the healthy way of dealing with your flaws. You know, it's an unhealthy way to say it's my circumstances. It's a healthy way to say I'm gonna look inside myself and see what I can do about how I'm perceiving these things. So yes, I love how everything we talk about just ties back to why are we even doing this show.
Yeah.
So the next and this is the final one. There was actually a bunch of different communication styles, but it was all rooted in these four. So the fourth one was aggression. And that's my favorite one because that's me. And I'm going to tell you about aggression. I feel like the definition I have for aggression is battling to win, which I feel like is a great definition because it doesn't automatically include just rah-rah behavior, just yelling, screaming. Aggression is just literally you trying to be the right person. It's you're forcing this battle. You're battling. You're in a fight. You're in a war. When you're aggressive, it could really you being aggressive don't have to be you yelling and screaming. It can be just your sharp tone and your intention to, like I said, win a battle. And I think that's a lot of times, I mean, the only time I feel like aggression makes sense is if it's a survival situation. Somebody hit you, when we growing up, somebody hit you, you hit them back. Absolutely. Aggression in that case, absolutely. Somebody messing with your kids, absolutely. But we talking about communication styles. And a lot of times in communication styles, when there's any type of aggression, it's not effective because of this battle to win. We're talking about relationships, any type of relationship, intimate or not, family, friends. When there is this battle, it usually doesn't end well. It takes away from how we already talked about this in probably more than one episode where there is this lack of effort to come together and collaborate in communication and collaborate to, if whoever it is, whatever type of friendship or relationship or it is, when there is a situation going on where communication has to happen and somebody needs to be understood and some meet in the middle needs to happen, that means that's the common goal. But when you both share the common goal, so you both on the same team trying to get to this goal. So anytime that there is a battle, you're counterproductive.
Right.
So I think that was like a big thing for me, just understanding aggression in a sense of, it's not always rah-rah. Sometimes people be thinking that they effectively communicate just because they talking like this. But sometimes it's just you're talking like this, but what are you saying though? Are you saying things that you know is going to cause this friction between you two as far as
Yeah.
like a battle?
You talking a lot, but you ain't saying nothing.
Yeah, like are you saying something, but you're saying the wrong things, or you're focusing on the wrong things. You're focusing
Yeah.
on being right. What does being right have to do with the common goal? It doesn't. I don't understand why
My
we
thing
ever
is-
have communication and relationships, any type of relationship, and being right is in the forefront of our brains. It doesn't matter who's right and who's wrong. The common goal is all that matters. So I think that's one of the biggest mishaps with being an aggressive communicator is that it's not effective and it's counterproductive.
And my thing is this: if you have to always be right, and you just can't never be wrong, like everybody is wrong except you. You are the most annoying person to be around.
I have been
Number
told I am
one.
like that in intimate relationships only.
And my thing is also,
Well, maybe in friendships too.
it's all the ships, all of them,
Oh, I'm just saying, like, I have been told that I am like that, but yeah.
and it's because honestly, you can be aggressive with me all you want to. I ain't competing with you. You want to be right? Be right. You got it. Go right on ahead. I'm not about to fight with you. For
Right.
what? Because you can't fight with somebody whose goal is to be right,
Right.
even when they wrong.
Right.
I'm not about to sit here and be like, nope, you're wrong.
Right.
You're wrong. Nope, you're still wrong.
See, I'm the opposite. I'm gonna break it down. Like, okay, so you think you're right? All right, let me get this PowerPoint out real quick. Let me explain.
And
let me break it all the way down from A
And
to
I
Z.
love you, and you gonna do all that, and I'm gonna sit here and be like, okay, you got it. I'm not going back and forth. You can have your whole project presentation ready,
Presentation, man. What?
and I'm like, yep.
Speech is
And
ready
you
to
got
go.
all them facts, and you still wrong.
All the evidence.
Because at some point, the truth is going to reveal itself, and I'm not about to stress about none of this.
Right.
You're not about to sit here and stress me out, especially when.
So why do you feel like it's stress? See, for me, it's not really stressful to like have a debate and go through evidence and talk about facts.
No. That's not stressful. What's stressful is when you're wrong.
Oh, right. And it's like,
And
are you ever going
and
to?
we're going back and we're beating a dead horse
Right,
at this
we're beating a
point.
dead
Like
horse. Yes,
you
for
know
sure.
you're wrong. You just your pride won't let you admit it.
Right.
And so it's just like, well, I'm not the nigga to be aggressive with. I'm really not. If you
Yeah.
gonna come to me, we gonna talk like normal human beings, like adults, and we're gonna get to a solution. If I'm wrong, I will admit I'm wrong.
Yeah.
If you wrong and you don't, we are not gonna get to the solution. And
Right.
at that point, I'm over it.
Right.
It's like I can't work with you. I can't talk to you right now because you just want to be right.
Yeah.
And I'm not fighting with you.
So I can't picture you being aggressive at all in communication. Have you ever been like the type of person that was like, I don't know, like got really upset and maybe said something you didn't mean to say and like,
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, whatever type of,
I've had-
whatever comes to mind when you think of aggression and having an aggressive tone. And,
It's levels to mine though. It starts off very patient. Starts off very patient, very calm. If I have to keep saying the same thing over and over, that's when the aggression comes.
right.
Because for some reason you're not getting it.
Right.
And so if the calm didn't work, okay, let's
Well, we just talked about the aggression don't work either, Dave.
with some
If
but with
calm
some
don't work, aggression
but-
definitely ain't
but-
gonna work.
but with-
I think that's a good.
But that's the
point to
thing
come
though.
across.
But that's the thing though. If calm didn't work, let me try the aggression. If that don't work, I ain't got nothing for you. Like I've tried both ways. It's just not it's just not clicking.
Yeah.
And so but what annoys me is when I tell you something and then somebody and you are like just blowing me off. It's like, oh whatever, he stupid. And then somebody else comes and tells you the same thing and you're like, oh, that is so deep. That is so profound. Shut your
See, yeah.
It's children in the room. I don't want to cuss.
I don't.
And then,
yeah,
but it's like, but I literally told you
the same
the
thing.
exact same thing.
Where do you think that comes from? Just like a respect
don't know. People
for
stupid.
people?
Um,
The lack of respect.
no, it's definitely a lack of respect
Yeah.
because for some reason, when I tell you something, especially if you're in relationship with me,
Yeah.
you don't respect me.
Yeah.
But if it's somebody who is at a higher level than you, doing better in life, if they tell you the same thing, all of a sudden it's like this deep revelation.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I already told you that.
Right.
Like, why does it take somebody who is more accomplished than you or who you have more respect for to tell you the same thing?
Right.
I never understood that. Never. And I'm pretty sure I've done it too.
Yeah.
But it's like, no,
It's
I
a
don't
lack of
understand.
respect thing.
It's a lack of respect. That's really all it boils
Do you
down
feel
to.
like respect is like I either respect you or I don't? Or is it like, can you be intentional about respecting somebody and like, or is it something that you feel like you have to have internal to portray? I guess is what I'm saying. Because I've actually had that conversation with my daughter's dad a while back, years and years ago, and he felt like I didn't respect him. I didn't respect his insight on certain things. And that kind of stood out to me because he's probably one of the most respected men I know. He's probably one of the best men that I know, just being honest. And for me to not respect that type of man, or for that type of man not to feel respected by me, I just kind of felt the way. So I don't know if it's just like me just being selfish and me just being so wrapped up and not want to be held accountable, and maybe that's why I'm not presenting respect, or is it that I really just didn't respect him and I probably should have? But it's like, how does that even happen?
Some people take disagreement as respect.
Disagreement as disrespect, or
disagreement as disrespect. Like if I don't share the same viewpoint, if I don't have the same vision as you, people usually take that as disrespect, and it's not disrespect. People just don't agree.
Yeah.
I think your approach can be disrespectful.
Yeah.
I think the things you can say can be disrespectful, but the fact that you disagree isn't disrespectful. Like, I can't sit here and be like, you can sit here and say, Dave, I don't agree with the fact that you put Celsius heat on the table.
Yeah.
That's not disrespectful.
Yeah.
Now, if you was like, Dave, I think you stupid for doing that, it's a little disrespectful.
Right.
Like,
Right.
But the fact that you just disagreement is not disrespect.
I think where my daughter's dad was coming from was more so like, do you respect me enough to consider my insight? Like, you remember
True.
that video I did about how women will say they want leaders, but then they'll get a leader who gives them insight and they will immediately find a way to not have to listen to it.
Yeah.
They will, tell them that he's insecure, or whatever it is that takes away from them being accountable. That's what they do.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's an issue just, in relationships.
True.
Where men, are they respected? You know what I'm saying? Is their leadership respected? Is their insight respected? Can we say that we really want leaders, but if they tell you something about yourself, immediately you don't even respect them enough to even consider it. Immediately you disagree. And so I think that's what, and it's a pattern thing too. So I feel like with my daughter's dad, he was coming from a sense of, I've known you for 10 years. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like through most of the 10 years, that's what it's been. So it's not like, oh, it's that one time you disagree.
Yeah, and
it's
most
like
people,
you never respected my insight. And it's like, me as a man, as a male leader, and as a respected man in your life, why is that?
And most people, they take what's happening now
Yeah.
and get offended.
Yeah.
But like you said, he's known you for 10 years.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, it's not just one thing.
Yeah.
Over the course of 10 years, this is how
I feel like I've never been you've never considered my insight about you. And it's like, I've known you longer than the people you probably do consider your insight with. Because maybe the other people's insight for you is something that doesn't make you feel as bad as my insight. So, and I guess that's why I was kind of trying to figure that out, because it's like, is it a respect thing or is it just like accountability thing? Like, I respect you, but to the extent that I got to be held accountable, don't really respect you that much.
Well, I think I done lost my train of thought. Help
I'm
me.
sorry.
What was I about to say? That's what I was about to say. With strong-minded people like yourself,
yeah,
you can sit here and tell them in the face all day, but they're the type of people who have to figure it out for themselves.
Yeah.
Like, you and I have had many conversations, I've told you many things.
We've disagreed. I feel like we had
Heck yeah.
assertive conversations, though. We've never had aggression.
No, as I had to be aggressive with you once, but
Really?
it's not for this. No, not to be aired on this. No.
Really?
Um,
I don't remember this. What kind of aggression?
like I
was
said,
this?
it's not meant for this at all. We'll
I really
talk.
don't like this.
We'll talk. We'll talk off camera.
All right. What kind of aggression you talking?
But with people like you, you have to come to the realization for yourself.
Yeah.
But as I was saying, we've had conversations to where I'm like, Nels, this is what I see.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, nah. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I ain't got to
Right.
keep repeating myself.
Yeah.
And then you come back and be like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like that with my daughter's dad, too.
yeah.
Like, after a while, I was like, you know what? You was right about 98% of everything you told me.
Or like,
I just didn't
because-
get it at the time.
Because like you say, if I tell you like it's okay, like
Yeah.
it's gonna be okay, and you like, no, it's not, and then you come back a few
Right.
few
I come
months
around.
later,
Yeah.
you're like, it's gonna be okay, and I'm like, yeah, I told you that 3 months ago, but you
Yeah.
ain't want to believe me. But
Yeah.
it's like I said, some people they have to figure it out for themselves,
Yeah.
and that's okay.
Yeah.
You just
And
got to
I-
be
and
patient
I-
with them people.
And I'm not, I feel like it's something I definitely need to work on. And that's why I guess I asked that question. I was asking that question for myself, like, is it respect like something that's like you gotta already have in you to show someone, or is it something you can be intentional about? Like, I do respect you. Let me consider your insight going forward. Let me at least consider it.
Well, consideration should be intentional.
Yeah.
You have to be considerate of other people's feelings.
Yeah.
Like,
Like, I don't remember thinking about consideration with my dad, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, my dad, when he
Right.
said something, it was just like, immediately I considered it. It was like, immediately I respected my dad. I don't remember, like, oh, I gotta listen to it. I should listen to, I don't remember that. You know what I mean? Not saying I listen to everything, just me just being a rebellious kid or whatever. But I feel like
well,
for the most
that,
part.
you know what that is, right?
Why is that?
Because your dad is an authoritative figure in your life.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah.
I think with
peers is different.
with peers, you see them as your equal.
Right.
So it's like,
Right.
I could take it, but
I don't
nah,
have to.
I ain't got to.
So if I'm forced to listen, I'm gonna listen.
But let me tell you what that does in romantic relationships. Usually, starting off in the dating phase, you'll see the man as your equal,
Yeah.
and if you keep that repetitive nature,
Right.
when you are in a committed relationship, you won't see him as an authoritative figure.
How do you feel
or
about
a leader.
that? You think women should see their men as authoritative figures?
Yeah,
I do too.
because he's the leader of the household.
Absolutely.
That's how God constructed it, and if you are out of alignment in that, it's not going to work out.
Right.
That man is going to leave,
Yeah.
or he's
Yeah.
going to tap out, and you're going to
Yeah.
be like, well, he's not romantic
'Cause he
anymore.
can't live in
Why
his
doesn't he take me on dates
nature.
anymore? Why doesn't he do this? Because you want to be the man,
Yeah.
and ain't
You
no
plan the date.
ain't no real man going to compete with another man, especially because if you want to handle everything, go do it.
Right. For sure.
Just don't get mad when I'm like,
Right.
you want to be the man, go be the man.
Right.
And like I said before, watch this whole thing go to hell.
Right. Right. What was I gonna say? I got here men versus women.
Oh Lord.
But I feel like we talked a little bit about that already. Just like what's a normal communication style for men versus women. But I feel like both men and women should be assertive. I think either way it go.
I think the difference is how they do it.
Yeah. How they do it. Yes, for sure. But I feel like if you're assertive, you are giving your truth without it feeling like you're attacking somebody. Because that's another thing. And I think we're going to kind of get into that. So yeah, let's just go in and get into that. I don't know if there's a difference between like communication styles in men versus women. I guess with me being a woman, I feel like I see a lot more men. They're either aggressive or passive aggressive. Very little are assertive. But I can honestly think I can say that about women too. they're either passive or aggressive. No, like you don't really come across women who are assertive. So yeah, I don't think there's a man versus woman thing when the communication skills or styles. Do you think so? Or
not? Yes. Based on what we're talking about, I mean, I think it's more of an individual thing, not a gender thing.
Yeah.
However, I think men have more of a tendency to get to the point. Like you need just get to the point. Don't give me all the details. If I ask you, how was your day? I want you to tell me good. But I know you are a woman.
Right.
So if I ask you how your day is, you're going to start from 8 o'clock in the morning to when you just got home.
Shut up.
Which women,
communication is that? I think that's just long-winded.
Which most women are.
Are most women long-winded? I think there's men that's long-winded too. My ex was long-winded. Very, very.
Well, let me say.
But he was also very passive-aggressive.
I think most women are very long. And I know men who are long-winded. But it's like with most women don't land the plane. Like you hover around
the conversation
the
never
airstrip.
ends. There's always something to add on.
With men, most men, we land the plane. Dave, how are you? I'm good. That's all? Yeah.
Everything's great.
Everything is good. But you need to ask me questions to get it out of me.
Right.
Because I got a million things going on. So if you really want to get it out of me, Dave, what was good about your day?
And that's the thing to me. I don't really like vague questions. Like, ask me something specific. Like, how you doing? I'm good. But if you really want, like, how was your trip? Or how was, when you visited your mom?
Ask specific questions.
Ask specific questions. Listen, because when you ask me a vague question, I'm going to give you a one-word response more than likely. Like, if it's vague. Because it's like, I guess it depends on my mood, too. Maybe it just depends. I feel like it depends on my mood. If I got something that just happened or whatever, maybe I'll say something. But I'm really that type of person where I just feel like you need to ask me specific questions because I don't know how to answer vague questions for the most part. But
yeah, it's like what do you want?
What do you want?
Like like it's just like
what are you asking?
Right.
All right. So one of my favorite parts of communication is the listening part.
Oh.
I think we forget that that's almost more important than the actual message is the understanding of the message, the listening skills. Listening is a skill. Okay?
That most don't have.
That we don't get.
Mm-hmm.
We don't get. So I have here active listening versus defensive listening. Mm-hmm. That ties into passive-aggressive, passive, because an active listener is listening to understand. And I feel like a defensive listener is literally listening
to respond.
To respond and to, what is it called? Like in a debate. What is that? I don't know what the word is. Like to get back at. You're listening to trying to find a loophole. Like, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get a point, and I'm gonna win. Like, I feel like defensive listening. You're trying to find something that's going to weaken their argument to strengthen yours. So what's the importance of active listening? Obviously, you're trying to understand. It goes back to that collaboration thing. You're obviously not going to be an active listener on purpose if you are an aggressive communicator. So let's just put it this way. I feel like if you're an aggressive communicator, you're probably an aggressive listener. If you're a passive-aggressive communicator, you're probably a passive-aggressive listener. Mm-hmm. So I think it all ties in. But like I said, I feel like listening skills is almost more important than the message because there is no message without the person receiving it and comprehending it and you guys able to come to a common ground to move forward. I feel like the moving forward comes from the listening skills. And I feel like a lot of us, like I said, we don't have that. We listen to try to win the argument. We listen to find a flaw in what they said so we can, take that out and run with that. Instead of actually trying to understand. And I don't know where that comes from either. I'm now that I'm thinking about it, it's just like, because I know I'm kind of like that. Like, I am just like a natural arguer. I don't even know if that's a word.
Oh boy.
But I feel like and I'm getting better. I feel like I'm getting better at that, where it's just like,
You are.
where it's just like, I'm not really trying to win, you know, I'm just like trying to understand. And, you know, that kind of goes back to what you were saying. I think the last episode or episode before, you're just like, we need to get back to the point where we want to understand people. Like, what is this? We just so self-absorbed where we don't really care what other people are talking about. But it's like, we do care, because we also say we want relationships and we want healthy friendships and we want healthy this and healthy that.
Yeah.
But we defensive listen.
We
How do you feel
do.
about that?
And the Bible says be quick to listen and slow to speak, which means most of us just need to shut up.
Right?
It's like, if you honestly listen to understand, most conversations won't last long
Okay. Right.
because you're listening to understand.
Right. They say God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason.
Right.
You need 2 ears. You only need 1
And
mouth. If that's not
it's-
indicative of what you should be doing with those things,
Right.
I don't know what.
And most people who listen to defend, you're nitpicking instead of listening to the whole thing,
Right.
which means you're just listening to see what offends you,
Right.
and you're going to respond out of offense.
Right.
And so
It's like you're looking for a problem to
Yeah.
talk about a problem. You're not looking for
When
a
usually-
problem to solve.
when it's like that, it means you're the problem.
Right.
And so
Oh, for real.
I think most people, or everybody, wants to listen to understand. In most cases, though, you're really listening to respond, because your pride, your ego won't let you get past to the fact that you just might be wrong.
Right. Right.
And it's just, that's how some people are.
Pride and ego.
And that'll be a whole other episode where we talk about pride
and ego.
and ego, because my
They're
Lord.
demons.
But
Literally.
I think listening to understand means you're listening with intention.
Yes.
To get
Intention
to-
get to it's a collaborative versus a battle. That's
Yeah.
what I think.
And most people, they just want to fight at the end of the
Right.
day.
And it may not be intentional like that. You know what I mean? It may not be that I just want to fight. It may just be, this is really how I've always communicated, and I never knew that I wasn't, you know, it's so crazy too, because I feel like we'll be in denial a little bit because we see that we're not effective. We see that when I say something, it turns into this big old argument.
Right.
Maybe it's the way you said it. Maybe like we don't go that deep into it.
I was just listening to, you know who Shawnee, formerly Shawnee O'Neal, but she got married
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
to the pastor.
Yes.
Keon, great guy, by the way. Great ministry.
Yeah, that's the guy. I think I repost him all the time.
Yeah.
If that's the same
They just
guy.
did a marriage panel, and they were saying, I think it's once a week, where they sit down and each person gets a chance to say how they feel with the marriage, what's going on, just to check in.
Yeah.
And the other person is not allowed to respond at all. You're not allowed to interrupt, which means you can't sigh, you can't do nothing. You have to listen.
Right.
And what the other person, when they're done, you have to ask, can I respond?
Yeah.
And the other person is allowed to say, no,
Right.
you're not allowed to respond right now because I'm not in a place to receive the response.
Right.
And with them, you have to respect that.
Yeah.
Like, if we talk and I need a minute, you got to respect that.
Right.
Like, you're not going to get a quick response out of me, because with me, I'm the type of listener, I'll listen and I'll process what I just heard.
Right.
Then I'll respond.
Yeah.
Because what I don't want to do is misunderstand you.
Right.
I don't want you to feel misunderstood. And if I got clarifying questions, let me calm down,
Yeah.
and then I'll come back.
So do you feel like you've always been that way, or you got to that point where you had to process things? Is that like a healthy mechanism you kind of like adopted from like, you know, seeing that
I think,
communication wasn't effective, or you've like always been like that?
I've always been that way. I think I really learned it from my mother.
Oh, okay. That's dope.
Because she's a great listener. And she also would tell you the truth.
Yeah.
And, but she also...
She needs time to process things.
Yeah. And most times, I think, you know, she's learned how to process quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not at that point. But she'll respond out of love once she's processed everything.
Yeah.
And but for me, I need a moment, because I'm passive.
Do you feel like you're a good listener?
Yeah.
Do you feel like I'm a good listener?
No.
What do I need to work on as far as my listening skills? You think I'm a defensive listener?
In some cases, yes. But it's
I agree. I was just wondering.
It's like you said, especially if it's the truth about you.
Yeah.
Your go-to is
To defend.
Yeah. And to hold that guard up for as long as you can.
Yeah.
But we've built a relationship of trust, so it's like, you know, like if I'm saying it, it's probably true, because I'm also not the person to be like.
You're not a stigma person. Like, you're not going to stigmatize me or anything.
If I see something that's outside of your character, I'll be like, what's going on with this? Or if you, like I text you the other night, like, what you stressed about?
Yeah.
For what? Because really, I just want people, especially my people that I'm in relationship with, to be okay.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
For
I
sure.
just want you to live your best healthy life. So yeah, I'll sit and listen. And what I'm learning and what I've been practicing is like, do you want me to respond? Do you want me to give advice instead of just giving unsolicited advice? Because that's really annoying.
Right.
So yeah, it's really, because most people just want to vent and get it out. But if you do want advice, then I'll be like, are you in a position to receive advice right now? Or
that's a good point. I didn't even think about the whole venting thing, because that's something I had to learn too. Like, just imagine like someone venting to you and you're actively listening. You're listening to understand where they're coming from. So your responses is wrapped around, I'm trying to understand you, or I do understand that is difficult and that's hard, and that's I see how that's a struggle. I can understand how that could be a struggle for you, instead of being the person that's trying to solve it, you know, where, well, just do this instead of doing that, you know. That's good, because I feel like when people vent and they don't want advice, they are wanting an active listener. They just want a good listener. They just want to be understood, I think, just when someone vents.
And when you are when you feel understood, you feel seen.
Yeah.
And that's what everybody wants. Everybody wants to be seen, and everybody wants to be understood, because nobody wants to go around thinking that they're crazy.
And think about how defensive listening relates to someone venting to you. Like me as a defensive listener, right? Someone venting to me, I'm automatically thinking about solutions. Why? Probably because I'm trying to be right. You know what I mean? This is subconsciously what I'm thinking in real time. I'm realizing this stuff in real time right now, because that's probably what it is. When you think about it, it's like, oh, I have a solution. I just want, being right is all that I care about. So when you're venting to me, somehow I make it about me and make it about being right about your situation, when people are really just wanting to be understood. You know, it's just like that when we talked about co-parenting last week or whatever. I don't know, last week.
Some time ago.
Right. And we were talking about how a guy had posted his struggles of how he has to file for custody to see his kids, and he was just feeling. And everybody was commenting, talking about, you need to make sure you get custody. And it was just like, y'all just completely invalidated the feelings. And I just think, I just literally got that realization in real time. When someone is venting to you, and you are trying to be a solutionist, you're invalidating their feelings.
Yeah.
Basically.
At the end of the
because
day.
it's like, okay, I can solve it, but what does that have to do with how I feel? What does that have to do with my pain? Like, is the solution really going to help my pain? I'm in pain right now. You know what I'm saying? And it's not just so easy to say, oh, this can happen and this can happen. No, I just want to feel. And I don't know. I think we're people who are defensive listeners, such as myself. We are very insensitive to people's feelings, and probably because we're insensitive to our own. You know, we don't talk about our own feelings. We're not venters. You know, a lot of people who are solutionists are probably not the biggest venters. You probably have to pull the venting out of them. You know what I mean?
Or it could be, I already know what the answer is.
Yeah.
That's the I just need to get it out.
Yeah,
so
I just
I'm
need
not
to talk
walking.
about it. I need to feel.
I don't have this weight on my shoulders. Like, I need to get this out. And it's always best when it's with somebody you trust, because let me find out what I told you done got to somebody else.
Right.
It's a wrap. That's the quickest way for me to end a friendship. Quickest way. Like, don't
your business being told.
Yeah. Let somebody else walk up to. So I heard, really?
Right.
Because I only told one person, so I already know.
Right. Yeah.
And that's another thing too. Like, if you've been through enough of that, it'll make you closed off.
Yeah.
And now you're walking around with this really heavy weight on your shoulders, because now you feel like, well, who can I trust with this information?
Right. And yeah, I feel like maybe the lack of venting is probably not feeling like you having somebody that you trust. But at the same time, it could be that you just not you're not in touch with who you really are to feel. You know, and I think that's kind of like my struggle right now. Is just making sure that I'm feeling, because I know me and I know that I can get to the point where I'm in denial about feeling. So why would venting come up if I'm not even trying to be truthful about how I feel about something?
Right.
I'm never going to vent. Because I always say that, like, I'm not a venter. But I feel like I probably need to become one at some point. I need to just talk about stuff. Just get it out. Just say it. I used to be that way. I don't know what changed. Like, I feel like in high school, I talked, I felt, I cried, everything was out in the open. Like, I feel like as I grew up, maybe, I don't know, maybe being let down, maybe, I don't know.
That is it right there.
Being let down.
When you've been let down by enough people who you have given your all to, without you even knowing, you have built up a whole fortress around you to where nobody can get in unless you let them in.
For sure.
And it becomes unnatural now for you to just open up.
I love how this is tied into the trauma episode.
Yeah.
Because that's what trauma does, right? It affects your behaviors. It affects, and you may not be conscious of it. You may not be conscious, like, oh, I've been let down. This is the reason why I don't vent. No, I'm just not a venter. But it's like, you used to be a venter, though. So what happened between you used to be a venter to you not being a venter? Oh, all these failed relationships, all these, people just dismissing your feelings. Oh, maybe that has a lot to do with it.
And my thing is, if you don't have somebody you trust to vent to, go see a therapist.
Right.
I'm so serious.
Yeah.
And see a therapist you don't know. That way they're not biased towards nothing.
Yeah.
Because my therapist, old white dude, don't care about nothing in the world. And he just tells it to me straight. Like, this is what's happening because of this. He don't know me from Adam. He's like, I'm here for you.
Right.
Point blank, period.
Right.
And by law, he has to be confidential. But I also have, like, my boy, Malcolm, my best friend, it's my brother. We have real talks.
Yeah.
And, we talk about things we go through. But we've built a level of, we've been friends for over 15 years. And we've built a level of a brotherhood where it's just like, hey, this is what happened.
Yeah.
And he already knows if he messed up, he messed up.
Yeah.
So I'm not about to sit here and be like, you know what you did was wrong. Like, no. Let's walk through this thing together, man. Like, let's just talk.
Right, for sure.
At the end of the day.
Nah, but for real, tell me how I feel. We on that fire, tell me what's the deal. Nah, but for real, tell me how I feel. We on that fire, tell me what's the deal. Nah, but for real.